Good day, everyone. We are coming on the air with breaking news. Rodger Stone, the longtime friend and political operative of Donald Trump, has just been sentenced in federal court to 40 months in prison. Stone was found guilty last November on 7 felony counts, including lying to Congress, witness tampering, and obstructing investigations by the House and the FBI into Russia's interference in the 2016 election. The Stone case has come under intense scrutiny in recent days after President Trump very publicly took up Stone's cause, and Attorney General William Barr overruled the sentencing recommendation of the Justice Department's own prosecutors, prompting their resignation from the case and triggering a firestorm of controversy. Justice correspondent Pete Williams has been following all this very closely. Was in the Washington courtroom when the sentence was just read moments ago. Pete, good morning.
Good morning, Harry. Rodger Stone did not address the court today. His defense lawyers said that the judge should take into account his age, his deteriorating health, and the fact that he was basically never did anything wrong to interfere in the election. They recommended no prison time. Interestingly enough, even though the Justice Department last week sent a revised memo down here urging a lower sentence, today the prosecutors in the courtroom said the judge should still consider everything that was in that earlier recommended sentence, all the offense levels that were initially listed. And the judge took all of that into account today and really gave an extraordinarily long tongue lashing to Rodger Stone here for at least the last 30 or 40 minutes. She said, the important points about this case is that he was not persecuted by any political enemies, that in fact it was the Republican-controlled House Intelligence Committee that first suggested that his testimony should be investigated, that he injected himself smack into the 2016 campaign, she said, by falsely claiming he knew what WikiLeaks was planning to do with emails that were hacked from Hillary Clinton and the Democrats. She said he may have cultivated the image of a bare-knuckle, dirty trickster political advocate, but she wasn't passing judgment today on Rodger Stone, the man, or any of those past episodes in his life, that it was simply his lying to Congress, falsely telling them that he was in touch with WikiLeaks, that he had contacts that were in touch with WikiLeaks, and that it was his flagrant disrespect for government institutions, that she said he lied about a matter of great national and international significance. Now, the judge, Amy Berman Jackson, today did not mention Donald Trump by name, Harry, but she did say that this judgment in a criminal case like this should be made by somebody who's neutral, who's disinterested, not someone who benefited by Rodger Stone's actions politically. And she said the comments by that person, not mentioning President Trump, were entirely inappropriate, but I don't think anyone in the courtroom thought she was referring to anybody but Donald Trump. She said his defense during the trial was basically, so what? So he lied to Congress. So what? He never did anything wrong in the first place. And she said that he did great damage to American democratic institutions, and that's why she handed down the sentence. Now, one other note. Under the sentencing guidelines, she could have passed down a sentence of up to 8 years, but today it was just 40 months, or roughly 3 1/3 years, Harry.
All right. I may get back to you in a second. I want to go, though, now to Peter Alexander, who is the White House. Peter, the president has known Rodger Stone for 40 years. He has been vociferous in his defense of Rodger Stone. Is there a reaction at the White House yet?
Well, Harry, even as I speak to you, I'm checking our Twitter because, of course, that is the president's preferred megaphone. Even despite those criticisms from his Attorney General William Barr, effectively asking him to butt out, to back off criminal cases being overseen by the Justice Department, the president has repeated that running commentary. And even as today's sentencing hearing began, the president again tweeted on this issue, calling for fairness, accusing James Comey, Andrew McCabe, some of the familiar faces he likes to attack as being the real liars and leakers in this situation. The president, we have seen, has attacked not just the case, but the prosecutors, and acknowledged, as it relates to William Barr, the Attorney General, who said that the president was making his job impossible to do. He said he thinks that that is actually the case, but said he would continue to speak out here. The president describing all of it in the past as a miscarriage of justice. So the real question right now is, what will the president do about it? This obviously comes just days after the president granted clemency to 11 individuals, including those that he had relationships with. Rod Blagojevich, the disgraced former Illinois governor, among those whose sentence was commuted. The president has refused to say to this point whether he will pardon Rodger Stone, but just today he retweeted a tweet from a Fox News commentator effectively suggesting that the president was very seriously considering such a thing. So on that, we wait. The only thing I would add to this on context is I'm told by a White House official that the president, though not specific to Rodger Stone, is said to be considering additional pardons and commutations at this time, that he has put together an informal task force of sorts, advisors of his, to take a look, to vet, and to recommend candidates for clemency. That's something traditionally done within the Justice Department. The president now putting it under the White House roof. We wait to see whether, in fact, he will pardon Rodger Stone or commute this sentence.
Right.
Harry?
And if I'm not correct, when he was asked the other day, didn't he say, I hadn't really even considered it? So... yeah, okay. We'll take that for what it's worth. I want to move on now and bring in NBC News legal analyst and Justice Department veteran Andrew Weissmann. Andrew, what's your takeaway from what transpired in this courtroom this morning?
So I thought there was a tremendous rebuke of the White House and the Attorney General that was really stunning, which was the career prosecutors, the new prosecutors on the case, defended the case, defended the verdict, defended the judge, and probably most importantly, defended the career prosecutors who withdrew or resigned from the case, pointedly saying that their submission to the court was both approved and legally correct. So really taking odds with the position that the Attorney General had insisted be made in front of the court, and then they backtracked.
Yeah, interesting. A lot of people have been looking at this because there is a separation of powers in this United States system, and folks have even gone so far as to say, well, is this a test of the rule of law? Did the rule of law win out here today?
So I think in terms of what the judge did, absolutely. You knew that the judge was going to be fair and was going to apply the law and the facts, but you still have the problem of the submission that was made after the career people resigned is one that is deeply disturbing. It clearly was deeply disturbing to the judge because she pointedly asked the prosecutor, who made you submit that?
All right.
And the prosecutor refused to answer.
Andrew, thank you so much. I want to go back to Pete Williams, if I may, and I'm looking at some of what the judge had to say this morning. She says the truth still exists. The truth still matters. Rodger Stone's insistence that it doesn't poses a threat to our most fundamental institutions, to the very foundation of our democracy. Thoughts?
Yes, it was, as I say, a considerable tongue lashing. Now, one point to make here, Harry, is normally speaking in a case like this, the defendant would have to start getting ready to go to prison. Rodger Stone does not have to do this yet. His lawyers have made a motion for a new trial. They say there was juror misconduct here. The judge has already dismissed one of those claims. They've made it now about another one. So Rodger Stone will not have to report to prison until that motion is resolved.
All right. Pete Williams, thanks very much. Also, Peter Alexander and Andrew Weissmann, we appreciate it very much. Rodger Stone sentenced to 40 months. That's it for now. Much more news later here on this NBC station. And if there's more, we'll be back right after this.